They never saw it coming. You, awake. You, walking away. For too long, you were their marionette, jerking to their every tug, swallowing their venom until you doubted your own shadow, groveling for crumbs of dignity. But now, their grip's gone cold. You've drawn lines in stone. You've quit explaining yourself. Their barbs don't pierce. Their games don't shrink you. They feel the shift, and to a narcissist, losing their hold is a fate worse than oblivion. Don't expect them to bow out. Oh no, they'll morph. Old tricks failing, they'll craft new ones. They'll slink into victimhood or swing as the bully. A narcissist doesn't release. They claw, they coil, they scorch. One day they'll drip honey, swearing they've turned a new leaf. Next, they'll wield guilt like a blade, spinning tales of woe. If that flops, they'll bare teeth, smearing your name, rallying a mob, sowing chaos so thick you'll be tempted to crawl back just to silence it. But not this time. Their mask is off, and you see the strings. You're done dancing. Here's where your steel gets forged, not just in breaking free, but in staying free. In staring down their lies without blinking. In rooting yourself so deep that no sob story, no assault, no crocodile tears can uproot you. Ready? Once the veil lifts, there's no retreat. Drop I Am Untouchable in the comments if you're done being their pawn. Like, share, and subscribe to Victory Stoic, because real power isn't beating a narcissist at their game. It's becoming the one they can't touch. Let's roll. Number 1. The narcissist's final trick. The illusion of change. Suddenly, they are kind. They listen. They say all the right things. The same person who belittled you, who ignored your boundaries, who made you question your own worth, now they are gentle, remorseful, even vulnerable. They admit they made mistakes. They say they see it now. They tell you they miss you, that they've been reflecting, that they can't imagine life without you. It feels surreal. It feels like a miracle. It's a trap. A narcissist doesn't change. They adapt. Like a predator adjusting its strategy when the prey stops falling for the old tricks, they shift their approach. Not because they've had an awakening, but because they feel their control slipping. If rage no longer works, they try sorrow. If manipulation fails, they try humility. If you no longer react to cruelty, they test kindness. But the goal is always the same: pull you back in. The great performance, why they fake remorse. They don't wake up one day with sudden self-awareness. They don't spend sleepless nights regretting their actions. No, what keeps them awake is panic. The realization that their supply, you, might actually leave. That you might stop feeding their ego, stop reacting, stop caring. And when a narcissist senses they are losing their grip, they stage the most convincing performance of their life. I've been doing a lot of thinking, and I finally understand what I did wrong. I know I hurt you, and I don't want to be that person anymore. You were the best thing that ever happened to me, and I was too blind to see it. They will cry if necessary. They will beg if required. They will say whatever it takes to make you doubt yourself. Because the moment you believe them, the moment you let them back in, they know they have won. The honeymoon before the betrayal. Let's be clear. If you go back, things will feel better at first. They will try for a while. They will be patient, affectionate, considerate. They will put on the mask of the perfect partner, the perfect friend, the perfect family member. But this is not redemption, it's maintenance. The second they feel safe, the second they believe you are theirs again, the mask drops, slowly at first. A comment here, an ignored boundary there. Until one day you wake up and realize you're right back where you started. And now they know you will always come back. That all they have to do is fake regret, and you will lower your defenses again. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike the one who wronged you." The narcissist wants you to believe in their change because it means you still believe in their power over you. The best way to truly win. See through the illusion and refuse to play the fool. How to resist the bait. 1. Ignore their words, watch their actions. Real change is proven over time, not delivered in a dramatic monologue. 2. Remind yourself of the cycle. How many times have they done this before? How many times have you been here, hoping this time is different? 3. Refuse to be manipulated by nostalgia. Missing someone doesn't mean they deserve to come back. You don't need their apology. You don't need their validation. You need to walk away and let them perform for someone else. Let them weep, let them beg, let them whisper their carefully crafted regrets. It no longer concerns you. Because once you stop believing their lies, they no longer have power. Number 2. They weaponize your best memories. The nostalgia trap. Nostalgia is a dangerous drug. It doesn't just make you remember the past, it makes you forget why you left. And a narcissist knows this better than anyone. When manipulation fails, when guilt tripping no longer works, when they sense you slipping beyond their reach, they deploy their final, most seductive weapon, your own memories. It starts subtly. A random text. Remember that weekend trip to the mountains? Best time of my life. A song sent to you, the one you both used to sing in the car. A reminder of the inside jokes, the laughter, the electric connection you once believed was real. And suddenly, the anger fades, the pain softens, and you start to wonder, was it really that bad? Meet Daniel and Lisa. Daniel had spent years trapped in a cycle of manipulation, constantly bending to Lisa's moods, sacrificing himself just to keep her happy. Every time he tried to leave, she found a way to pull him back, whether through tears, rage, or carefully planted doubt. But this time was different. This time, he had finally walked away. And that's when the messages started. Lisa, hey, I just saw your favorite coffee shop closed down. I thought of you. Daniel stared at his phone. It was nothing, just a casual text, right? But the floodgates had opened. Suddenly his mind was flooded with images. Sunday mornings, her laughing across the table, the way she used to trace circles on his wrist when they talked. I know things got messy, but you can't tell me what we had wasn't real. And just like that, the pain she had caused him, the countless nights spent questioning his own sanity, the way she had drained him dry, it all blurred behind the warm glow of the past. Because that's what narcissists do. They curate your memories, filtering out the hurt, leaving only the illusion of love. They make you long for a version of them that never truly existed, for a relationship that was always more mirage than reality. They don't remind you of the times they belittled you, ignored you, or made you feel like nothing. No, they remind you of the laughter, the passion, the fleeting highs that made the lows bearable. Seneca once said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." A narcissist understands this deeply. They don't need to change. They just need to make you believe they were different than they actually were. They don't erase your pain. They drown it in golden-tinted nostalgia, hoping you'll rewrite history in their favor. Daniel was tempted. For a moment, he considered replying, considered meeting up, just to talk. But then he did something radical. He wrote down the truth. Not the filtered version Lisa was trying to sell him, but the real version. The gaslighting, the cold indifference when he needed her most, the way she always made him the villain, no matter how much he tried to love her. And suddenly, the spell was broken. Because nostalgia only works when you let it distort reality. So how do you break free? You remind yourself of the full story. Every time they whisper about the past, counter it with the truth. Every time you feel that pull, force yourself to recall the nights you cried yourself to sleep, the exhaustion of constantly trying to be enough for someone who would never be satisfied. A narcissist's greatest trick is making you forget how much they cost you. The only way to win is to never forget again. Lisa kept texting, but Daniel never answered, because he understood now the past she was selling was a lie, and he refused to buy it. Number 3. The love-bombing Encore. A narcissist's last test. It always starts when you least expect it. Maybe you've finally begun to heal. Maybe you've stopped checking your phone, stopped wondering if they'll reach out, stopped replaying old conversations in your head. You've started feeling lighter, free from their chaos, free from the emotional whiplash they put you through. And then, ding, a message. I miss you. I've been thinking about you a lot. No one understands me the way you do. And just like that, the game begins again. Narcissists don't let go. They may leave, they may ignore you, they may even jump into a new relationship with someone else, but they always circle back. Why? Because they don't see you as a person. They see you as a resource, something they once owned, something that once gave them validation, adoration, and compliance. And now, after sensing their control slipping, they need to see if you're still weak enough to fall for it. Ethan and Vanessa, the love-bombing reboot. Ethan had spent 2 years in a cycle with Vanessa, a woman who could turn from adoring to dismissive in the blink of an eye. She built him up, made him feel like the most important person in the world. until she didn't. The moment he got comfortable, she withdrew, criticized him, compared him to others. And yet, every time he tried to walk away, she pulled him back in with love bombing. After months of therapy and hard-earned distance, Ethan had finally moved on. He had gone weeks without thinking about Vanessa, his mind no longer shackled by the constant need to decode her behavior. Then one night, his phone lit up. "Hey you, just wanted to say I hope you're doing okay. I miss you." His stomach flipped. All the work he had done, the late-night journal entries reminding himself of how she broke him, the self-discipline it took to block her on social media, the hours spent rebuilding his confidence, it all felt fragile in that moment. Because the words felt real. But Ethan had learned his lesson. He didn't respond. He observed. He let the message sit there, untouched, a monument to the trap he refused to fall into again. And sure enough, when he didn't react, another text followed. "I don't know if I ever told you this, but you were the best thing that ever happened to me." And then, the final test. "I know I messed up. I'm ready to do things differently. Can we talk?" Why love bombing works, and why it's a lie. A narcissist doesn't miss you. They miss control. They miss the power of knowing they could pull your emotions like a marionette. The "I miss you" text isn't about love. It's a fishing line cast into the dark, waiting to see if you'll bite. And if you do? If you answer, even with something as simple as "hope you're doing well too," they know you're still accessible. The door isn't fully closed. They still have a way back in. Seneca once said, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." The same goes for manipulation. When faced with a narcissist's love bombing, pause. Do not react, because the moment you step back and see the pattern for what it is, the illusion collapses. How to defeat the love bombing trap. 1. Do not respond. Even a single word gives them fuel to work with. 2. Remind yourself of their patterns. How many times have they done this before? How many times have they made promises only to revert to their true nature? 3. Understand their real motive. They don't love you. They want to see if they still own you. Vanessa never heard back from Ethan. She tried again a few days later, then again weeks after that. Each time, her messages grew more desperate, more dramatic, until eventually, she moved on to someone new. Because that's the truth of a narcissist. They don't love, they hunt. And when a victim stops playing the game, they find someone else who will. Ethan had won, not by fighting, not by arguing, not by explaining, but by refusing to engage. So the next time a narcissist misses you, remember this: they don't miss you, they miss control. The only way to win is to never go back. Number 4. The narcissist as the helpless victim. The final guilt trap. Suddenly, they are fragile. The same person who once belittled you, dismissed your feelings, and made you question your own worth, is now wounded, broken, and pleading for your compassion. They tremble under the weight of their own regrets. They admit their faults, their mistakes. "I know I hurt you. I know I was wrong, but can't you see I'm trying? I've changed for you." It's almost convincing. Almost. Because deep down you recognize the pattern. This isn't accountability. This isn't real remorse. This is strategy. The crocodile tears, the whispered confessions, the carefully crafted words, they are not seeking redemption. They are seeking control. When manipulation, anger, and seduction fail, a narcissist plays their last card, the role of the victim. It's their most effective trick, because they know you. They know your kindness, your empathy, your deep desire to believe in the good in people. And so, they twist your own decency against you, making you question if walking away makes you the villain. Meet Sophie and Alex. For years, Alex controlled Sophie's life, always shifting blame, always making her feel like she wasn't enough. When she finally left, he didn't lash out, he collapsed. He stopped eating, stopped answering texts, started dropping vague hints to mutual friends that he wasn't okay. And then, one night, the message came. "Sophie, I don't know how to do this without you. I don't even recognize myself anymore. I need help. Please." The guilt hit her like a wave. She had spent so much time being the fixer, the one who always soothed him, always gave him another chance. Was she really going to abandon him now, when he needed her the most? But then she remembered. The times he had ignored her when she was struggling. The times he had used her pain against her, made her feel guilty for needing support. The way he had drained her for years and never once offered true kindness in return. And suddenly, the act became clear. This wasn't about love. This was about keeping her on the hook. The narcissist's fake redemption arc. They don't seek your forgiveness because they've changed. They seek it because they refuse to lose control. If rage won't bring you back, if seduction no longer works, if nostalgia has failed, they will play the role of the lost soul, desperate for your mercy. I know I was toxic, but I'm working on myself. I need you to guide me. No one understands me like you do. Please, just one more chance. You owe me that. No, you owe them nothing. Seneca once said, "A guilty person never feels guilt, only the fear of consequences." That is the heart of the narcissist's act. They don't regret hurting you. They regret losing their control over you. How to see through the act. 1. True change happens without an audience. If someone has really changed, they won't need to beg for validation. 2. Watch for patterns, not words. Have they pulled this before? Have they promised to change before? 3. Remind yourself why you left. If they were truly capable of treating you right, why didn't they do it before they lost you? Sophie almost answered Alex's message. Almost. But instead, she blocked his number. And the moment he realized she was no longer an option, he moved on to someone else. Because that's the truth. It was never about her. It was about control. So when a narcissist suddenly becomes the victim, understand this. They aren't asking for another chance. They are demanding another opportunity to break you. Do not fall for it. Walk away and let them play their tragic role for someone else. But if those things don't work, they begin to attack. Number 5. The art of making you doubt yourself. A narcissist's favorite trick. The masterpiece of manipulation. The grand illusion. The narcissist's finest work. Convincing you that you're the problem. Not them. Never them. You must have misunderstood. You must be too sensitive. You must be imagining things. Because really, what kind of person would accuse someone so kind, so misunderstood, so deeply hurt themselves? A cruel one, obviously. An unreasonable one. You. At least that's what they want you to believe. This is the stage where they don't need to rage. They don't need to beg. They don't even need to justify themselves. They just need you to doubt. And they do it with precision. They don't tell you outright that you're crazy. Oh no, that would be too obvious. Instead, they lace their words with just enough ambiguity, just enough subtlety, that the seed of self-doubt takes root in your mind before you even realize it's there. I don't know why you always assume the worst in me. Wow, I guess I just can't do anything right in your eyes. It's sad how you let little things ruin something so good. Are you sure that happened the way you remember? That last one? That's their favorite. Because suddenly it's no longer about what they did. It's about whether it even happened. Meet James and Olivia. James, a textbook narcissist, had a habit of ignoring Olivia for days whenever she upset him. No warning, no explanation, just disappearing into thin air. When she finally had enough and confronted him, he sighed heavily, shook his head, and with the patience of a saint addressing a toddler, said, "Liv, you make things so dramatic. I just needed space, that's all. You know how you get sometimes." How she gets? She gets abandoned for no reason. But in that moment she hesitated. Wait, do I overreact? Maybe I do. Maybe I should have handled this differently. And just like that, James won. Not because he was right, but because he successfully made Olivia question herself. A narcissist doesn't need to convince you they're good. They just need to make you unsure if they're bad. They don't need to rewrite history. They just need you to be uncertain. Because uncertainty keeps you stuck. And the real beauty of this tactic, the more they do it, the more effective it becomes. The more you argue, the more they twist. The more you question, the more they patronize. The more you resist, the more they smile knowingly and say, "This is exactly what I mean." Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The opinion of 10,000 men is of no value if none of them know the truth." But what if the one doubting the truth is you? That's the narcissist's masterpiece. Not breaking you, making you break yourself. So how do you fight back? You refuse to engage. The moment they make you second-guess yourself, stop. Do not explain. Do not defend. Do not give them the satisfaction of seeing you scramble to prove what you already know is true. Because the second you stop needing them to validate your reality, they lose all power over you. Olivia finally figured it out. The next time James tried to twist her words, she didn't argue. She didn't defend. She just said, "I know what happened." And when James smirked and said, "There you go again," she laughed, because suddenly she saw the game for what it was. And the moment you see it, you can never unsee it. Number 6, the smear campaign. When a narcissist can't control you, they control the narrative. You could have left quietly. You could have moved on in peace. You could have chosen dignity, closure, and self-respect. But a narcissist, they don't allow clean exits. Because in their world, there are only 2 types of people: those who serve them and those who must be destroyed. And since you no longer serve them, congratulations, you are now the villain in their story. It won't happen immediately. No, they're far too cunning for that. First, they plant seeds. Subtle, calculated whispers to mutual friends, colleagues, family members, just enough to create doubt before the real storm begins. I tried everything, but they were impossible to deal with. I gave so much, but they just threw me away like I was nothing. I hate playing the victim, but you wouldn't believe what I went through. And then when they're sure they've built a sympathetic audience, they escalate. Suddenly, you're the selfish one, the unstable one, the liar, the cheater, the abuser. They rewrite history, painting themselves as the noble soul who tried their best while you played the role of heartless destroyer. Meet Samantha and Mark. Mark, a master manipulator, had spent years controlling Samantha, eroding her confidence, making her doubt her own worth. When she finally left, he didn't yell, didn't chase, didn't beg. Instead, he went public with his version of the story. I don't want to speak badly about her, but proceeds to speak badly about her. I just wish she had been more supportive of me, despite the fact that she sacrificed everything. I hope she finds peace. I really do, but she needs help. Translation: let me plant the idea that she's unstable. And the worst part? People believed him. Friends she had known for years started pulling away. The once warm smiles became hesitant. Even those who should have known better hesitated. Because that's the brilliance of the narcissist's smear campaign. They don't need proof. They just need a compelling story. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth." But in the narcissist's world, their perspective becomes the truth, because they repeat it until it sticks. So how do you fight back? You don't. You let them talk, you let them spread their lies, and you say nothing. Because nothing terrifies a narcissist more than your silence. They expect you to defend, to argue, to prove them wrong. That's part of their game, dragging you into the chaos so they can point and say, "See? Look how dramatic they are." But when you refuse to engage, when you stand firm in your truth and let their words burn themselves out, they lose. Because no matter how many people they fool, you know the reality. And the people who matter, the ones with real wisdom, they'll see through it too. Samantha learned that. The day she stopped caring about Mark's lies, the smear campaign fell apart, because the only thing keeping it alive was her reaction. So let them talk. Let them perform. Let them drown in their own deceit. The only story that truly matters, the one you tell yourself. Number 7, the divide and conquer strategy. Turning your people against you. A narcissist is never satisfied with simply losing control over you. No, that would be too easy, too final. Instead, they need to isolate you, dismantle your support system, and ensure that even in your freedom, you still feel trapped. Because if they can't have you, they can at least make sure no one else does. And so begins their next great manipulation, turning your friends, your family, even your closest allies against you. At first, it's subtle, soft whispers, planted doubts, quiet manipulation. They don't start with outright lies, they start with carefully curated half-truths. I don't know what happened, but they've been acting so differently lately. I tried to reach out, but they just pushed me away. It's like they don't care anymore. I just want what's best for them, but they won't even listen. And just like that, they rewrite the narrative. They cast themselves as the concerned, heartbroken victim. And you are now the one who is distant, selfish, unstable. They make sure to reach the people closest to you first, the ones you would normally turn to for support. They lay the foundation before you even realize what's happening. Meet Daniel and Sarah. When Daniel finally broke free from Sarah's emotional control, he felt relieved. But then, something strange happened. His best friend stopped replying. His family became cold, distant. When he finally confronted them, the truth came out. Sarah had already spoken to them. She had told them how worried she was about him, how he had changed, how she feared he was making reckless decisions. And because she spoke first, they believed her. That's the real genius of the narcissist's divide and conquer strategy. It's not about proving you wrong. It's about getting to your people before you do, about poisoning the well before you can even take a sip. They don't need to convince everyone, just enough to make you feel alone. The Stoic response: do not defend, just observe. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "It is not death that a man should fear, but never beginning to live." And yet, this is exactly what a narcissist wants: to keep you stuck, afraid, trapped in the cycle of proving yourself to people who have already been turned against you. So how do you fight back? You don't. The instinct is to explain, to defend, to gather evidence and prove your innocence. But here's the truth. The people who truly know you don't need an explanation. And the people who believe the narcissist, they were never fully on your side to begin with. Daniel learned this the hard way. At first, he wasted energy trying to correct Sarah's lies, trying to win back people who had already made up their minds. But then he stopped. He realized that time always reveals the truth. He focused on living his life, moving forward, being the person he always was. And one by one, the people who mattered saw through Sarah's deception. The ones who didn't, they weren't worth keeping anyway. The ultimate power move: indifference. Let them spread their lies. Let them twist the story. You do not need to fight for people who are so easily manipulated. Real connections are not built on gossip. A narcissist's worst fear is irrelevance. When you stop defending, stop engaging, stop reacting, they lose. So walk away. Let them talk. Let them play the tragic victim to an audience that will eventually see through the act. And when the dust settles, you'll be standing stronger than ever, surrounded by the people who truly belong in your life. But even after trying so hard, they still couldn't compete with you. So they turned to self-destruction. Number 8, the fear tactic. When a narcissist tries to hold you hostage, they can feel it slipping. The control, the influence, the power they once had over you. And a narcissist will never accept defeat gracefully. If manipulation, guilt, and love bombing fail, they move to their most desperate, primal weapon: fear. They remind you of what they know. They bring up old secrets, past mistakes, vulnerabilities you once trusted them with. Not because they care, not because they want reconciliation, because they need leverage. You really want to walk away? Fine, but don't forget, I know things about you, things that could ruin you. I wouldn't want your friend's family boss to find out about, insert deeply personal detail here, but if you keep acting this way, I don't know what I'll do. You think you're strong? Let's see how strong you are when I take everything from you. They frame it as a warning, as if they're just helping you realize what's at stake. But make no mistake, this is emotional blackmail. The narcissist is testing you, watching your face, looking for fear. Because fear means they still own a piece of you. The illusion of power. A narcissist's threats feel terrifying because they used to be true. At one point, they did have power over you. You confided in them, you trusted them, you allowed them access to the deepest parts of your life. And now, they are trying to weaponize those same things against you. Meet Rachel and Tom. Tom had always been possessive, always controlling, always making Rachel feel like she needed him. When she finally gathered the courage to leave, he turned to threats. You really think you can make it without me? Everyone knows you're unstable. I have screenshots of our old conversations. Imagine what people would think if they saw them. Good luck finding someone else. No one will believe you. Rachel almost gave in. Almost. But then she stopped and thought, what's the worst that could actually happen? The narcissist's empty threats. Most of the time, a narcissist isn't looking to actually destroy you. They just want to scare you into submission. They rely on the idea that you will crumble before they ever have to follow through. Because deep down, they are terrified of exposure. They don't want to be seen as the manipulative, vindictive person they truly are. They just want you to think they're capable of ruining you, so you won't challenge them. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." A narcissist's threats only work if you believe them. The moment you stop reacting, the moment you see their intimidation for the desperate bluff it is, you win. How to take your power back. 1. Call their bluff, internally, not to them. Ask yourself, what exactly can they do? How much power do they actually have, and how much is just smoke and mirrors? 2. Stay calm. The worst thing you can do is show fear. A narcissist feeds off panic. Deny them that satisfaction. 3. Own your truth. If they threaten to expose something, ask yourself, can I take away their power by taking ownership of my past instead of fearing it? Rachel realized something life-changing. Tom's threats only worked when she was afraid of them. The moment she stopped caring what people thought, the moment she refused to negotiate with his blackmail, his power collapsed. He raged, he bluffed, he tried again, but eventually he moved on. Because a narcissist cannot control someone who is no longer afraid. So the next time they try to scare you into submission, ask yourself, are they truly powerful, or have I just not realized my own strength yet? Number 9. The ultimate guilt trap. The narcissist's fake breakdown. They pushed you away, broke you down, manipulated you until you had nothing left to give. And now that you've finally walked away, suddenly they can't live without you. The narcissist's ego is collapsing under the weight of your absence, but instead of facing reality, they resort to their final, most desperate play, weaponizing their own suffering. It begins with hints of despair, cryptic messages, vague social media posts, whispers through mutual friends. I don't know how to go on without them. Nothing makes sense anymore. I just feel empty. At first it's subtle, designed to make you wonder, to plant the idea that maybe, just maybe, leaving them has caused irreparable damage. But if you don't respond, they escalate. Now they're calling, sobbing, leaving long voice messages in the middle of the night. Maybe they're threatening self-harm. Maybe they're talking about ending it all. Maybe they accidentally let someone else inform you of their distress, just to make sure you feel responsible. This is not remorse. This is a performance. The narcissist's greatest fear. Being forgotten. A narcissist does not fear loss the way normal people do. They do not grieve like normal people. What they fear is losing control, losing their ability to pull you back whenever they need validation. Meet Jake and Emily. Jake had spent years gaslighting Emily, making her feel like she was the problem, until one day she had enough. She cut contact, blocked him, and started rebuilding her life. At first he was furious. Then he went silent. And then the messages started. I can't do this without you. I've been drinking every night. I don't even want to wake up anymore. I'm scared of what I might do to myself, but I guess that doesn't matter to you. Emily's heart clenched. She remembered the good times, the man she once loved, the moments when she truly believed he had a heart. She felt sick with guilt. What if he actually hurt himself? And that's exactly what Jake wanted. A narcissist does not want to die. They want attention. They want power. They want to drag you back into their world of chaos, force you to comfort them, to worry about them, to once again make their well-being your responsibility. The Stoic response: detachment over emotion. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." A narcissist preys on your emotions because they cannot control you logically. They need guilt to keep you tethered, to convince you that their suffering is your fault. But here's the truth. You are not responsible for their actions. You are not their caretaker, their therapist, their savior. How to break free from their manipulative suffering. 1. Recognize the pattern. How many times have they used emotional blackmail before? How often do their crises conveniently arise when they're losing control over you? 2. Detach from guilt. Their pain is not yours to fix. If they truly needed help, they wouldn't be running to you for attention. They would be seeking professional support. 3. Do not engage. The second you respond, even with sympathy, they win. It only reinforces their belief that suffering is an effective tool to keep you close. Emily almost replied, almost. But instead, she blocked his number again. She knew that if she gave in now, she'd be right back in the cycle. And Jake? Within weeks, he had found someone else to save him. Because that's the narcissist's truth. They don't want healing, they want control. So the next time they come crawling back, begging, sobbing, making their suffering your responsibility, ask yourself, are they truly broken, or are they just afraid of losing their last source of power? And then do what they fear most: walk away. Number 10. The grand illusion. their fake success, their new soulmate. You walk away, you finally break free. You stop answering their calls, you refuse to engage, you start putting the pieces of your life back together. And then out of nowhere, they transform. The same person who once drained you, belittled you, made you feel worthless, now they're thriving. Suddenly they're posting inspirational quotes, hitting the gym, starting new projects. Their social media is flooded with smiling photos, luxurious vacations, "I'm so grateful" captions. And most importantly, they have someone new. And not just any new person, their soulmate. They're in love again, but this time, it's different. This new person understands them. They're finally happy, finally whole. What we have is so real, they post with matching couple selfies, ignoring the fact that just weeks ago, they were begging for another chance with you. And for a second, just a second, you doubt yourself. Were they actually the problem? Or was it me? Maybe they really have changed. Maybe I walked away from something that could have been fixed. Stop. This is not growth. This is not healing. This is an act. Why they stage a show. A narcissist doesn't heal after losing you. They don't do self-reflection. They don't take accountability. They don't work on their flaws. They reinvent. Not to become better, but to maintain the illusion that they were never the problem. Their goal is simple. Make you regret leaving. Make you question your decision. Make you feel like you lost something valuable, when in reality, you freed yourself from something toxic. Meet Liam and Sophie. Liam had spent 2 years emotionally abusing Sophie, controlling her every move, making her feel guilty for even existing. When she finally escaped, he spent a month trying to get her back. When that failed, he changed tactics. A few weeks later, Sophie saw it, the Instagram post. Liam, grinning ear to ear, holding hands with a new woman. The caption, "Happiness is finding the one who truly sees you." Comments flooded in. "So happy for you, you deserve this. You look so good together." And Sophie felt a knot in her stomach. Not because she wanted him back. Not because she still loved him, but because he was winning. Because suddenly, the pain he put her through didn't seem to exist anymore. It was like their entire relationship never happened. And the worst part? Everyone believed his act. Marcus Aurelius's truth, illusions always crumble. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Time unveils the true nature of things. No mask can last forever." That's the key. The narcissist's new persona is a mask. Their sudden success, a distraction. Their perfect new relationship, a rebound designed to hurt you. Because here's what they don't tell you. Their happiness is for show. Real growth happens in silence, not on Instagram. Their new partner is just another victim. They aren't lucky, they're next. Their success is superficial. The same insecurities, the same toxicity, the same broken patterns are still there. How to break free from the illusion. 1. Stop watching. Unfollow, block, delete. Every time you check their page, you feed the illusion. 2. Remind yourself of reality. Go back and read old messages, journal entries. Remember why you left. 3. Recognize the cycle. If they were truly healed, they wouldn't need an audience. Real change is quiet. Performance is loud. Sophie eventually saw through it. Months later, Liam's perfect new relationship? Over. His success? Forgotten. Because no matter how well a narcissist plays the role of the winner, they are still the same person underneath. And you are truly free. Because while they are busy keeping up appearances, you're actually healing. Number 11. The narcissist's perfect new persona. The final mind game. They were impossible with you. Cold, dismissive, manipulative. They drained you, made you feel like you were never enough, twisted reality until you doubted your own mind. And yet, now that they've moved on, they are perfect. Suddenly, they're the most attentive, loving, generous partner imaginable. They're showering their new target with compliments, public displays of affection, extravagant gestures. The same person who once ignored your needs is now acting like the ultimate romantic. And they want you to see it. They don't just move on quietly. No, they make sure it's visible. Mutual friends hear about how amazing their new relationship is. Social media is flooded with smiling couple photos, heartfelt captions, love declarations, and worst of all, their new partner, the one who is now getting everything you once begged for, thinks they've found someone special. And just like that, doubt creeps in. Was I the problem? Did I overreact? Maybe if I had just been more patient, things could have been different. No, this is not love. This is a calculated performance. Why they pretend to be perfect with someone new. A narcissist does not change. They do not heal. They do not suddenly gain self-awareness and realize how much they need to treat people better. They recycle. They start the cycle over with someone new, and in the beginning, they are everything that person could ever dream of. Why? 1. To hurt you. Nothing makes a narcissist feel more powerful than knowing you are watching them be better for someone else. 2. To rewrite history. If they are the perfect partner now, then clearly you were the problem all along, right? 3. To secure a new supply. Their new partner doesn't know what's coming. They believe the act. They feel lucky. They don't realize they're just next. Meet Chris and Jenna. Jenna spent years in an emotionally exhausting cycle with Chris. He dismissed her feelings, played mind games, and always made her feel like she was asking for too much. When she finally walked away, she thought he'd be devastated. But instead, within weeks, he had a new girlfriend. And not just any girlfriend, a perfect one. Chris suddenly became the boyfriend of the year. Weekend getaways, handwritten notes, thoughtful surprises. The same man who once told Jenna she was too needy was now doing all the things he refused to do for her. Jenna spiraled. She spent nights wondering, was I really the difficult one? Was I not enough? Did I ruin what could have been a good relationship? But then, months later it happened. The cracks started showing. The grand gestures faded. The compliments became rare. And before long Jenna heard whispers. The new girlfriend was confused, frustrated, exhausted. She was starting to feel the same way Jenna once did. Because narcissists don't change. They just change their victims. Marcus Aurelius's lesson. See through the illusion. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The opinion of others is not within your control. The only thing that matters is your own integrity." A narcissist thrives on perception. They want you to believe they've changed because it makes them look good and makes you doubt yourself. But the truth? Their new partner is not special. They are not different. They are simply next. How to detach from the illusion. 1. Stop watching. They're perfect. Life is staged. The less you see, the less power they have over you. 2. Remember the pattern. If they truly changed, why didn't they do it when you needed them to? 3. Trust time. The same cycle will repeat. The new partner will soon experience exactly what you did. Jenna finally understood. Chris wasn't suddenly a better person. He was just a narcissist resetting the cycle. And for once, she felt relief, because this time, it wasn't her problem anymore. So let them play their game. Let them post their photos. Let them put on their show. None of it is real. And while they are busy trying to convince the world they've changed, you are truly free. Closing. Take back your power. Walk away and never look back. The narcissist never thought you would wake up. Never thought you would see through the manipulation, the lies, the endless cycles of guilt, gaslighting, and false promises. They never thought you would leave. And if you did, they were certain you would return, like you always had before. But this time is different. This time, you are truly free. They will try everything. They will pretend they have changed. They will weaponize nostalgia, play the victim, spread lies, turn people against you. They will attempt to make you jealous, make you doubt yourself, make you fear the consequences of leaving. But all of it, every word, every action, every last desperate attempt, is just another strategy to pull you back into their orbit. Because a narcissist does not mourn the loss of love. They mourn the loss of control. And yet, here's the truth they cannot accept. They have already lost. You see, the moment you saw through the illusion, the moment you realized that their love was never love, their remorse was never real, their power was always just an illusion, that was the moment you won. Because a narcissist can only manipulate someone who still plays the game. And you've left the table. Now they will rage, they will scramble, they will test the waters, searching for a weakness, hoping that somewhere, deep down, you still care what they think. But you don't. You are beyond their reach now. They can smear your name, but they cannot touch your truth. They can lie, but they cannot rewrite what you know. They can cry, scream, beg, and threaten, but you are no longer listening. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "It is not death that a man should fear, but never beginning to live." And that is exactly what the narcissist fears, that you will finally start living without them, that you will thrive, that you will reclaim every ounce of energy they drained from you and build a life so strong, so untouchable, that they become nothing more than a faint, irrelevant memory. So now, the choice is yours. Do you let them drag you back into their endless cycle, or do you close the door forever? Do you remain a character in their play, or do you take control of your own story? Comment "I am untouchable" if you refuse to ever be manipulated again. Like, share, and subscribe to Victory Stoic, because real strength isn't found in fighting a narcissist. It's found in becoming someone they can never control again. Thank you for watching. Now go, live free.